So today, we're going to dive into an incredible story from an ancient Buddhist text, the Sutra of the Causes and Conditions of King Wonderfully Formed. It's a tale that really pushes the boundaries of sacrifice to ask a huge question: what is wisdom truly worth?
And that actually brings me to a question for you. What would you be willing to trade for a single piece of truth that could change your entire life? A little money, maybe some of your time. But what if the price was everything you love? Just keep that in the back of your mind as we get into this. All right, so our story kicks off in the thriving city of Varanasi. It was ruled by a really good and fair king. His name was Wonderfully Formed, and his kingdom was basically perfect. No wars, no crime, everything was prosperous. He had a wonderful family, a beautiful queen, a son he adored, and everyone loved him. And yet, even with all of that, the king felt like something was missing. He had this deep, unshakable thirst for real wisdom, what's known as the supreme Dharma. So he gets pretty desperate, right? He makes this huge public announcement. He hangs a chest packed with gold from a banner, high up for everyone to see, and says, "It's all yours if you can teach me these profound truths." But nothing. Months go by, and not a single person comes forward. It seems like the kind of wisdom he was looking for just couldn't be bought. Just when the king is about to give up all hope, this figure appears. It was a yaksha, a terrifying, monstrous being with a twisted face and gnarled limbs. It lumbers up to the king and says, "You're looking for the supreme Dharma? I have it. But," and this is a big but, its price wasn't gold. So get this. The yaksha lays out its condition. It looks at the king and reveals its absolutely horrifying diet. To share this ultimate wisdom, it needs to eat. And its food is human flesh and blood. Suddenly, the king, who's been searching so desperately for knowledge, is faced with a choice that is just unimaginable.
And this is where things get really intense. This wasn't just some simple deal anymore. This was an ordeal. A test designed to see just how deep his desire for enlightenment actually went. And the price of this wisdom? It was going to be paid in blood. So the yaksha's first demand is for the king's most precious treasure, his only son, Prince Upright. But in this absolutely stunning moment, the young prince overhears the request, and he kneels before his father and willingly offers himself. He tells his father not to worry, to go and get the wisdom he seeks. The king agrees, and right there, in front of the entire court, the yaksha devours the prince. And through it all, the king's focus on the Dharma never waver. After consuming the prince, the yaksha turns to the king and says, "I'm still not full." Its next demand is just as unthinkable. The king's wife, Queen Wonderful Visage. And just like her son, the moment she hears this, she immediately offers her own life so that her husband can reach his sacred goal. The king just watches in silence as the yaksha consumes her, too. Incredibly, even after all of that, the yaksha claims it's still hungry. There's only one person left to give. It looks right at the king and says, "Your own body is what I require now." And without even a split second of hesitation, the king agrees to this final, ultimate sacrifice. But he has one condition. And this right here, tells you everything about the king's priorities. His bargain was simple. Teach me first. As soon as I have heard the truth I've given up everything for, then my body is yours. Think about that. His desire to learn was literally stronger than his will to live. He valued wisdom more than his own life. The yaksha agrees. And so, this is it. In front of all the crowds, with the king completely prepared to die, the creature finally speaks the words of wisdom that cost so much to hear. This was it. This was the teaching. Just 4 lines that hold this incredibly profound truth about being human. It gets right to the source of so much of our suffering, doesn't it? Our clinging to people, to things, to ideas. And when the king heard this, he wasn't filled with grief or terror. The story says he was filled with an immeasurable joy. He had what he came for, and he calmly turned to the yaksha and said, "I am ready." But then, just as the king offers himself up, something miraculous happens. The terrifying yaksha just dissolves. Its monstrous form melts away, and standing in its place is Indra, the king of the gods. He had taken on that horrifying form just to test the king's sincerity. Indra was just completely blown away by the king's unwavering resolve. He praised him, saying his courage would without a doubt lead him to supreme enlightenment. And then, with just a wave of his hand, he brought back the queen and the prince, both of them totally unharmed, and returned them to the king. The family was whole again.
Now, the story doesn't actually end there. See, there's a bit of a twist. The original text is being told by the Buddha himself, to his disciples. He's using this incredible tale to explain a much deeper truth about his own journey to enlightenment.
So the Buddha reveals that this wasn't just some fable. He tells his followers that he himself was king wonderfully formed in a past life, and that self-sacrificing prince, that was an incarnation of his own son, Rahula, and the devoted queen was his own wife, Yashodhara. This wasn't just a story, it was his story.
And this is the final crucial point he makes. He explains to his disciples, "Because I was willing to sacrifice my beloved wife, my son, and my own body for the sake of the Dharma in the past, that is why all of you now listen to my teachings with such focus, without ever growing tired." His past sacrifice basically supercharged his present words with this incredible power. And that brings us all the way back to the story's core teaching. True freedom, it seems to suggest, comes from letting go of the things that cause us sorrow and fear. It's a lesson we hear echoed all the time, right? The idea that our deepest attachments are often the source of our biggest anxieties. But this story presents that freedom as having an almost impossible cost. And it leaves us with this powerful, really unsettling question. If the price of wisdom is everything you love, what does it truly mean to be free?